awesome!
Hey y'all, Noons here, Airborne RC. Thanks for coming by. And if you haven't already, go ahead and hit the subscribe button and the notification bell so you can go ahead and get notified for future further content. And hit that subscribe button, why don't you? About 90% of my subscribers are, 90% of my watchers aren't subscribers. And I don't know if they're liking the content or if they're getting the tips and running. I'd like to know, do I continue on doing this? Let me know in the comment, guys. I'm going to keep on doing it until I get tired. So today was going to be the day that I unveiled the new Rebel Hot Jet. And I got to thinking, and I was going to do a build-up. The jet's complete. It's inside. So what we're going to do is we're going to start off with the build videos. And we're going to do the wing first. So both wings are the same, guys. So you don't have to think things are different. And I broke it down into a few parts. Part one is basically gathering the materials you need to do the aileron and getting the aileron servo ready to be mated in the wing. Part two will be actually what you need to do to mate the servo to the wing. And part three will be the flap and what you got to do to get the most deflection down from what I gathered and looked into it and just really looked at it for a few hours until I got it right. At the end, you will have the unveiling of the whole jet. I just wanted to build up to that, guys, and hope you guys enjoy it. It's a turbine, Rebel Hot. It's going to run on the 60N. It's supposed to run on the 45, so it's going to have a little bit of umph. So I hope you guys enjoy it. Noon's out. All right, guys. So this is one of the wing halves for the Rebel Hot Jet. It is a composite jet. Comes with the retracts already installed for you. Flaps and ailerons, fiberglass control horns, and you got your little servo plate. It's taped on. I already took the tape off, so we'll go ahead and put this off aside. Composite material, painted in the mold. That's the top. Right there. Alright, so we're going to go over installing the aileron servo, and it's the same thing for the rudder. Alright guys, this is everything you're going to need to install an aileron on the Rebel Hot Jet. You're going to go ahead and you're going to need your servo bracket. You're going to need two pieces of wood right here, and these are for spacers. One carbon fiber strap, your screw set with your nuts and your washers, and the plate that you just took off of the Rebel Hot. You also need your servos. For this application, I went ahead and I used the Toro CL1208, which is basically a rebranded KST 1208 for Healy Direct. I was going to go ahead and put on a set of Pro Modelers on here, but they did not have them in stock. So I went ahead and I went with these, and I also saved some money. It takes 8 servos, so $10 a servo saved me $8. So the first thing you're going to do is you're going to get this. Now, this jet was made for Servo servos. These servos are 1.7 millimeters taller, so you will have to trim the bottom right here. So the object of this, guys, is to have this slip in the top right there, and you're going to sandwich this onto here. That's the end result that we're going to have. All right. So just for a quick dry fit, I'll show you what we are planning on doing. These things will get glued here, and this strap will strap across and tie that in. Now in doing so, since it is longer, I am closer to the hole, so I cannot put the nut on there to go ahead and line up straight. So what I did is I fashioned this out of a 1/4 inch and 1/32 or 3/32, and I glued that together, and I put that there. So now I can go ahead, and This is the screw that it was meant to come with. As you can see, it only goes through so far. I went to Ace Hardware and I purchased a longer screw. And now it'll go through and it can clamp down. You can clamp down real tight and it'll be real sturdy. So the first thing that I did is on this wood piece, you line it up to go ahead and see how much you're going to need to cut and mark it off. And what I did is I took a Dremel and a file and I went ahead and I chopped that off on the bottom. Alright, next thing I did is I took the piece that I made and I went ahead and I drilled that in on the drill press, and you'll see that in right here. Alright, now that I got my spacer put in, we're going to go ahead and mount them to here. And for that, we're going to go ahead and use medium CA. So let's go ahead and get our servo into our bracket. And for this application, I'm using the servo horn. It's going to be more forward in the slot. So I know that that's my orientation. And now I'm going to go ahead and take these and line them up the holes. Now what I do is I take a screw and I get it started. And what I do with this is I leave just a little bit protruding. So I can kind of use this as a guide pin. Right there. Take some CA. And you just need a little bit. This is just to hold it on. It's going to be hold on tight with the pressure from the washer and the screw. So this is just basically to hold it in place while we're assembling. Then I screw into it, and then that's what's going to hold it on for it to dry. So we're going to go ahead and do the same thing on the other side, guys. Get it out until there's a little nub. Line it up, perfect. Put a few drops of CA right here. Don't need much, guys. Like I said, it's just to hold it in place. Alright. Right. That's all the time we're going to need on that. And you guys are seeing this in real time, guys. This is how I build. Alright. So now we're going to go ahead and feed this through. Oh, I got that little burr right up there, guys. Let me go snip that off. Always something. Alright, feed it in there. Sits in there nice. Sits in there good. Alright. So now this plate goes right across here and holds this in. Right? So what we got to go ahead and do is we got to line up these holes so they can go ahead and we can drill into this right here so we can go ahead and screw it together. Let's go back to the drill press, guys. Alright guys, so we're going to go ahead and drill the holes. I use a piece of painter's tape to hold this steady. Basically, we're going to go ahead and line up this hole and puncture through that carbon fiber. As you can see, it's bending. We go a little bit, and we're through. We're going to do the same thing on the other side. And the hole is a little smaller, so the screw will screw into the carbon fiber. And not by much. We're talking about like 5/1000ths of an inch. Alright guys, and there we go. We got our holes. Alright guys, now that we got our holes drilled, we can go ahead and start our assembly of our servo apparatus onto our plate right here. So you get 2 long screws that came with the kit and the short screw. We're not using the short screw anymore. We purchased one at Ace Hardware. So we're going to go ahead and get these started. We'll go ahead and we know the plate's going like this on the plane. We're mounting it right there. And we're going to get our piece that we went ahead and we fashioned. Right there. Alright guys, so here's a little tip. So as you can see, this doesn't move, but when you give pressure, the servo can have a tendency to slip up or down. So what I like to do is in between here, I like to put a bead of hot glue in between the servo and the plate. That way it negates any trimming issues that you could possibly have later on. So I took out one screw, so I can go ahead and I can peel this back a little bit like that. It's not going to lose its location. And I'll throw a bead of hot glue right there at the bottom. Boom. And smash it down. Alright, now that we got this glue down now, remind you guys, the hot glue isn't to glue this, it's to keep it from moving around or having any slip or slop. So let's go ahead and we're going to put our screw back in that we took out. So we had that for that leverage that we were able to get. Let's get it started straight. And I'm going to go ahead and screw it until I could feel it just popping out of the carbon fiber strip right there, guys. Alright, now it's starting to cinch that down. I could take the tape off. And I like to go ahead and start with this guy first. So we're going to go ahead and take one of the washers that came with the kit. And as you can see, it's the same height, just a little higher than that servo. So it's not going to interfere, crank that thing down. Or we're going to take one of the washers and one of the nuts. And we're going to go ahead and put that in. Alright. Now we'll do the same thing with the other guys. And with these guys, they are a little closer. So you might have your washer bend a little bit, but that's okay. You're not gonna you're not wrenching these things down, guys. What I like to do is, I like to go until it gets snug, and then I'll go a half a turn. They're a nylon nut, so you don't need any Loctite on here. I'm gonna go ahead and put that other washer. I'm just waiting for Murphy's Law. Anything that can go wrong will go wrong. And since I'm on camera, I'm waiting for it to bite me in the butt with the last screw. There we go. Alright, let's go get a wrench and tie these things down. Alright, so now we got that tightened down. I like to start with this back guy. So I use a pair of pliers. It's just easier for me to hold, and these are a pair of safety wire pliers. And that little top. Turn it. I could still turn it a little bit, so. Half a turn. Now that bad boy's on there and he ain't gonna move, so we gotta do the same thing to these guys. Give it a little turn, see if it turns. Okay. Last one. And I mean, if you guys had a socket set that would fit this screw, I'd implore you to use it, but I don't, so I use what I got. I'm sure there's a lot of you guys on the same boat. Less money I spend on little specialty tools, the more money I get to spend on toys. Alright. Now, the last thing we got to do is we got to cut off the remaining tabs right here. And to do that, I like to go ahead and use my cutoff wheel on my Dremel. So let's go ahead and do that. Alright guys, we went ahead and we cut it down. And this is almost finished and ready to put in the plane. The next thing we got to do is we got to center the servo so we know where our center is so we could put in our servo arm. So let's go ahead, and we just got a servo tester I picked up off of Amazon. I'm pretty sure you guys got this guy. I think I got it for like $4. Alright, we've got it there. And we need a battery supply. All right, and we'll go to center. And I take a Sharpie and I'll measure the point on the bottom part right there. So I know that that is my down. All right, so we'll take power away. And I'm using the servo horns that come with the servo. So we'll get the servo turned. All right, and I got it 90 degrees this way through the back. And as close as I can get. Okay, so that's straight. If I go a little up, how far is it off? Okay, I think I'm gonna go with it right there. All right. Push her on down. All right, we get our little handy dandy Loctite. Get our screw, so we can go ahead and screw this bad boy down. I like to screw them down before I put in Loctite, just in case. That way we don't cross thread by any chance or any bad juju. Throw a little blue Loctite in there. Turn it, and she's in. Get her through the slot. And let's go ahead and double check, guys. So always put in the servo in first. Power supply. That's pretty center, guys. That's all the way one way. And it does bind right here, but you're not using that much throw on the plane. You're only going about that far. So it's going to be completely fine. So we'll go and center it up. And turn her off. And that's going to be for part one, guys. That's everything you got to do to get this bad boy prepped to go ahead and put her in the wing. Okay? The reason why is, let's go ahead and move this camera over. Is on these models right here, everything's fit to finish. So when you drop this bad boy in to line it up with the arm, you'll notice it doesn't fit. Oh man, yeah, this isn't your E-flite plane, guys. This is a modeler. So part two, we're gonna go ahead and carve everything out of here so we can get this to fit flush, and we'll mate this together with the aileron. Hey y'all, Noon's back again. So that goes ahead and it concludes everything to go ahead and get the apparatus for the servo to put in for part one. Part two will be all the digging and carving out, and that'll be coming up soon. So go ahead and stay tuned, y'all. Noon's out.
Get some!